That's called criminal kidnapping. There's a court order now, not to return a child at the end of visitation. Is a criminal matter also, ma'am. But I'm gonna start with the ad litem and then go to the state and have y'all both give me your opening statements, telling the court what you want, what you're expecting evidence to show today, what you're requesting the court to do here today, and whether or not this is going to be a final hearing. All right, thank you. So I'll start with you, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Brem Hall.
My requests are that we, to the extent possible, attempt to finalize the temporary order from February. Support may need to be modified based on current income. I believe Mr. Curtis may be working a different location than he was in February. I know retroactive child support needs to be set. I believe the state will calculate that, and I'll fully concur with whatever they calculate regarding that. Regarding visitation in this matter, under the temporary order in February, this court kind of just left it open to me to coordinate any visits that the parties wanted or needed. It's my understanding that for at least 2 or 3 months, the parties did some kind of regular weekend or every other weekend, something like that by agreement, which was fine. This court had this case set in June on a regular docket, and we were going to try and finalize it on that day, and it was just there were too many cases set, and so it got reset to today. And it's my understanding that since June, there's been some possible friction between the parties, and or Mr. Curtis hasn't done as many weekend visits or hasn't had the same consistency in visiting, something to that extent. I do have some concerns about the party's history and family violence. I know there's been prior testimony in this cause about Mr. Curtis's prior acts towards Miss Fullilove. There's testimony that he slapped her in front of her coworkers, harassed her at her job, banged on her car window and screamed, "I'm gonna kill you." So these are the kind of things that cause me a lot of concern. I think non-disclosure of contact information was previously ordered and should continue. This court ordered the exchanges to occur at the Temple PD, and I think that should continue. I'm not positive where they were meeting during the February to June time period. I believe they were potentially meeting in each other's residences, but I do have some concerns about that given the history of the parties as well. And so regarding the issue of conservatorship, I think that should roll over from the temporary order as well. And visitation, I do think everyone, I think every parent needs to have some kind of visitation generally, unless there's some pretty unique circumstances, I'll say. But I'm just not sure. It should be able to be done in a safe environment, and then there shouldn't be any kind of risk or concern that harm may come to the parent or child as a result of the visitation. So I think a standard possession order probably isn't the best in this case, but potentially just weekends may work, or some other kind of regular contact, but more limited than the standard possession order.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brem Hall. Ms. Hubbard.
Your Honor, the state's seeking a final order today. We'll defer to Mr. Brem Hall as far as what's recommended as far as visitation. I believe the testimony was pretty severe in this case prior, so state's requesting we keep the family violence finding in. It's my understanding that Mr. Curtis was previously working for $18 an hour, but last time we were here, he had been unemployed. So the state's asking for Mr. Curtis's testimony regarding what his employment situation is, and for the court to possibly consider that Mr. Curtis is intentionally underemployed if he's still not working after 5 months since we were last here. The state is required to ask for retroactive child support in this case. We would like to base it on at least $15 an hour for the 48 months plus 4 months until February 29th, 2024, which is right before the previous child support amounts started. The state is seeking $23,452.
All right, let's get some testimony. Let's find out where everybody is, how everybody's doing, what they're doing. And Mr. Brem Hall, they already on app close on this in this case?
I don't believe so. I don't believe it was previously ordered, and I don't think they have voluntarily done it.
Okay.
But
Well,
I definitely think that certainly definitely needs to happen if it hasn't happened already.
all right. All right, Mr. Curtis and Ms. Fullilove, please raise your right hands, folks. All right, you both solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're gonna give here today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth will help you.
Yes, sir.
All right, both of you put your hands down. The state's gonna call you, Mr. Brem Hall is gonna go ahead and call you both as witnesses, and then I'll let the state have the cross. And again, at the end of the hearing, if there's anything that didn't come out that's relevant to these matters that the court's taking up today, then you will be allowed to bring that information to the court's attention. So at this time, Mr. Brem, I'll call you first witness, please.
Okay, I'll call Mr. Curtis. Would you state your full name?
Dmitri Curtis.
Is your middle name Joe, Joe?
Dmitri Joe Curtis.
Okay. Are you a junior or senior?
No.
Okay. What city are you presently living in?
Temple, Texas.
Is it the same address that's listed in the order on 7th Street?
No.
Okay. Did you move since February?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where are you presently working?
Labor finders.
I'm sorry, repeat that, please, sir. Labor what?
Labor finders.
Labor finders? Okay, thank you.
And is that a temp agency?
Yes.
So are you working as a temporary employee, or are you working for the temporary agency to help other temporary employees? Is it a
Yes,
full-time
I'm working.
position or a temporary position?
It's a temporary position.
Okay. So you're not employed to help other people find work. You're trying to find work yourself. Is that correct?
Basically just trying to find stable work.
Okay.
And hopefully, attempt to hire a situation, but
What kind of work are you currently engaged in at Labor Finders?
it's all labor work. It's all general labor work.
Like construction, lifting, that kind of stuff?
Basically just construction cleaning.
Okay. Do you have any degrees or certificates or certifications from any school or any other kind of accrediting agency?
Yes, I got a third safe certification from CTC.
Say that you have a what? Say that again.
Serve safe certification from
Is that
Central Texas College.
And what does that allow you to do?
Hospitality management, like basically a manager.
Like at a hotel or a restaurant, or what are we talking about?
Either or.
Okay. And have you worked in that industry at all?
No, I have not.
When did you obtain that certificate?
2009.
Okay, and you've never worked in that field? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. What in February your child support was, I believe, set on based on your unemployment, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so has your unemployment run out since? I mean, I'm assuming it has run out by now, correct?
It's like about to, but I have put in, I've basically like I said, what I'm doing currently work-wise, I have a chance to get hired on through the particular company. A lot is gonna factor into that, like in the next couple months. So
And what company is that you're trying to get on with?
Stellar Construction.
Do you know how many hours you may be working for Stellar?
It's varying right now with the high heat and the rain. So a good week, 40, a bad week, maybe 25.
Yeah, sir. So you're already working through the temp agency for this company. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir. But
And how long?
I'm currently trying to get hired on, but they're basing it off a total hour type deal because of the contract.
Okay.
I gotta have basically 683 hours to get hired on, or to get the consideration to get hired on. I'm like at 483 right now, somewhere around there.
So okay, so number one, you just said you're making 12 an hour, is that right?
No, never said what I was making an hour.
Okay, how much are you making per hour?
It is between 14 to 18. It just really depends on what I'm doing because it changes on a day-to-day basis as far as the kind of work I'm doing.
How many hours a week are you working?
Like I said, a good week 40, a slow week maybe 25.
Okay, and maybe I misheard you, but I heard something about $12 an hour. Did I mishear something?
You said something about $12 an hour. I never
But
mentioned $12 an hour.
okay, you didn't mention it. All right.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
mentioned that.
Okay. All right. And the job at Stellar you're hoping will become a permanent? Is that, and is it right?
Yes.
And are you hoping it will come with a pay increase, or are you anticipating 14 to 18 after it's a permanent job?
That's to be determined because it, they base it all on the offer. So I don't really know until I talk to the project manager. That's when I'll be able to find out all of that. I'm not quite sure right now.
Okay, and you,
Mr. Brem Hall, let me stop for a second. All right, sir, you said that before they can hire you, you have to have so many hours with them under this job. Right now, as you said, 600 and something, and right now
Yeah.
you're at 400. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm
So,
over
so,
400.
so you need about another minimum of 5 to 6 weeks before you can even be considered to be hired. Is that correct?
Yes. And then that's going to be a process based on background check and all the normal stuff.
All right. So if everything goes perfectly and you get your whole 40 hours, you get 40 hours a week going forward because the rain has stopped. Yeah, heat hasn't, but rain has. And so, you're probably looking at getting those necessary hours sometime in the next 2 months. But on my
Yes.
calculation, okay. All right,
Two
thank you.
months, 2 months at the longest, and it's a pretty good shot because I've talked to like the right people so far, so they know about the background situation and they're willing to work with it. So
Okay.
okay,
it's a very good opportunity.
All right then. All right, Mr. Brimhall, you don't have to hit on this one much longer because obviously we're probably
okay.
looking to come back because of that flex.
Um,
And the fact we're looking at somewhere between 14 and $18 an hour right now, and then going forward, it's probably going to change again if he gets hired permanently.
right.
This, folks, as much as I want to finalize this, your job circumstances, sir, makes it a little hard, but I'll go ahead and see what we can get done today, or
Yeah.
whether or not I'll just decide to go ahead and do it final based on a certain amount. But anyway, you may proceed, Mr. Brimhall. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
I
No,
was understanding what he was saying, and I thought that's what he was saying, and I was correct. Thank you.
I was going to ask all of those questions, Judge. So I appreciate the court going there.
All right.
My next question is, how long have you been working in the construction industry?
At least 14 years.
Okay, with different employers throughout that time, or just one?
Different employers and different trades.
So since 2019, how many different employers have you had?
Maybe 3.
Okay. And has your hourly rate remained constant? Has it been 14 to 18 that whole time, or has it fluctuated?
It's fluctuated. It was previously just stuck at 14, but this particular company that I'm working with, I've been with them like at least on and off 3 years, 4 years maybe, and it just fluctuates. Now I'm getting, depending on what I'm doing that day, it
So
changes.
the job that you were previously at before you were on unemployment, were you terminated from that job, or did you quit, or what was the circumstance?
I was laid off. That
Okay,
job actually ended, and that was actually a company that was from out of town that
okay.
had a contract down here. So
So the company, you said they were from did they phase out of existence or just go back to wherever they were?
just the project was done, the work was
Okay.
done.
Okay. All right. Regarding your daughter, Demaria, uh, since February, I guess let me break it down a little more specifically. So the temporary order was put in place in February. You understand that, correct?
Yes,
All right. And in that temporary order, the visitation is kind of left open. You understand that? Like there's nothing really specified in there about what your weekends are. You understand that?
yes, and I want to
So
be
hold
able to talk
on.
about. I want.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you some questions and you can talk at the end, okay? Um, from February, March, April, and May, what kind of access did you have with your daughter? Like how frequently did you have her?
Was getting her every weekend, every other weekend, and sometimes during the week, depending on if she had, if her mother had something going on, work wise, or
So when you say you had her for the weekend, when would you usually pick her up?
pick her up on the Friday when she got
At,
out of daycare around probably the pickup times vary between 5 and 7.
5 and 7. Okay. And you would have her for Friday night and Saturday night and then return on Sunday, is that correct?
Yes, sometimes in the morning, like after breakfast, or sometimes late afternoon. It just really depends when her mother was ready to come back and get her.
Okay. And uh, your daughter is your only child, right? You don't have other children, is that correct?
No, this is my only child. That's correct.
Okay. And you don't have any like there's no adult children and no other minor children, correct?
I only have one kid.
Just one. Very good. And you said you would see her in the middle of the week sometimes. What was
That,
that?
that
What did it
that
look
was
like?
basically if she had a school event going on and I was able to catch it and her mother wasn't able to catch it, then I would go get her. Or when she was going to daycare, if she had something going on at daycare and she couldn't go get her because she was at work, I would take off to go get her. So it just really, or she had to work afternoon shift. It really just depends during the week. Like
Okay, so
that was,
those were how long did those midweek visits last usually?
that's just been on and off for years like that.
Just
It's been
just a couple
on and off
hours
like
here
that
and
for
there?
years.
Okay,
Couple of hours here and there. It depends. Like,
okay.
but she
Did you
always came back together. If it was during the week and not the weekend.
okay. And uh do you are you and the mother using an app called App Close to communicate?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Okay, all right. Do you have a smartphone with video capabilities?
Yes.
Okay. Um, all right. Uh, regarding your possession and access of your daughter since June when we were last in court, and I understand we were reset last time, so we didn't get to see the judge and speak to the judge or anything, but since June, what does your possession and access look like?
Recently just got her back last week, the weekend before, we just went back to that. And the reason that happened is because me and her had a falling out about the back child support.
Okay, so there was like a month or 2 months or so where you didn't see her. That
Yes, and the only reason is like whenever she gets like that or whatever, like I'm like it's nothing I can just really go do when it's at that point. She got to I let her cool down or whatever, and then she always gets the schedule back like it's been.
were you so after our hearing in June, did you make any threats to Miss Fullilove or say anything that would be interpreted as a threat or that would place any reasonable person in fear?
Mm, I'll let her say that.
Okay.
Let's invoke this Fifth Amendment right.
I
Mr.
would
Hall.
say this. I would say this though. I would say this. I know when we had that falling out about the back child support, like things were said on both ends, and my only thing with her around that time when we had that conversation is when she threatened basically you know, let me see her like that. So
So
that irritated me.
do you understand that it's the OAG, it's the state of Texas that's asking for the back child support? Do you understand that? Like it doesn't have anything to do with Miss Fullilove?
And you said I would get my chance to
Well, I'm just asking,
basically.
my question is, do you understand that it's the state's request and not Miss Fullilove's request
Oh
for back?
yeah, I understand a whole lot. I did my research. I understand a whole lot. That's why I would like you said I would get to explain myself after you ask the
Right,
questions.
but you haven't given me an answer. It's the state of Texas that
Let's
is
move on, Mr. Brem Hall. We'll move on.
I understand this protocol. I understand. I
Okay.
understand.
All right. Regarding do you know where Miss Fullilove is presently living?
Yes.
Okay, and where have you and Miss Fullilove been exchanging Demaria when it's the weekends?
Since Demaria has been at least a year old, since 1 year old.
Sir, here's the deal. I
We've
go back.
always we've
Mr. Curtis, we're talking about since we had the order, okay? What have y'all been doing for the exchange?
The exchange has always been she drops off at my house or I pick her up from her house. It's
Okay.
always been that.
All right,
It's
thank you.
always been that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So does she know where your current address is? You said you just moved?
Yes, she knows where my current address is.
Okay, how long does it take for you to drive from your place to her place?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Regarding how far of a drive is it to downtown Temple from your house?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. And I guess by downtown I mean like the city hall, the sheriff's office building is, or not the
Yeah,
sheriff's,
like
police.
5 minutes. It's about the same distance, like about 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Um, I'll pass for now.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brem Hall. Ms. Curtis, I'm sorry. Your witness, Ms. Hubbard, thank you.
Since 2019, have you and Miss Fullilove ever lived together, Mr. Curtis?
We haven't lived together since like mid 2019. So no.
Okay. And so the time period we're looking at for retroactive support is from October of 2019 until the order was done, starting child support in March of 2024. So between those months, so before the child support was ordered and since October of 2019, have you given Ms. Fullilove any money directly for the support of Demaria?
Yes, yes, I have. Yes,
How
I
much?
have. Um, I, um, I was paying the daycare for a while when she was at Peanut Gallery. So I don't know the circumstances with as far as I know it's on file up there, but I just don't know as far as like what she has set up as far as like help with that or whatever. Like I'm just not aware of a lot of the assistance she got, but basically I was buying at that around that time all the diapers, clothes, like anything she needed. So as far as like I didn't hand her cash, I was buying everything.
Were you buying her things for her house or for your house?
I was buying, I still buy both households. I've always bought both households.
How much
Including
was,
and including just recently, like last year, me and her made an agreement on me getting all the school clothes and school supplies and stuff, and basically I did that, and I know I got to do it again this year, but it's changed year to year as far as like the money spent.
as far as the daycare, how many months did you help pay for daycare?
Uh, Maybe a year on and off, but see that depends because I got cut out of that after a while, so it, I can't even give a accurate, calculation on that.
How much was it each month or week that you were paying?
I know I was paying a little over 80 bi-weekly. I don't know what the full amount was because around that time there was two kids going to daycare, so I don't understand like as far as the setup or whatever. I wasn't there. I didn't do any paperwork or anything, so I was giving over a little over 80 every 2 weeks, something like that.
Okay. And when did you stop giving that money?
Maybe 2022 as far as like just physical money.
Okay, so this was a little bit before the child support got started then.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to make sure the court knows today?
Yes. Like I mentioned before, pretty much I've been buying for both households. That kind of money I can't calculate, but like you're talking about down the toys and all of that, like I've been pretty present and committed to that, which she knows, and I don't feel like I owe anything as far as like back. And I even got to say this: I know she was in contact with me about TANF, and I don't know anything about any of these government services or whatever, but she warned me this would happen before TANF. Like we didn't have any issues up until she told me about the TANF situation and explained what that was. And we had a falling out about that or whatever because like she didn't communicate with me like as far as needing more help and all of that. So this is with me offering to pay for health care and stuff like that. And like that's on her to have that communication, open with that. But basically she warned me that y'all would come after me after the TANF situation. And I don't, like I said, I don't know anything about TANF, but she warned this would happen. I just don't think it's fair. And I've been there since we broken up, basically. Like the real problems really came when that was brought to my attention. And that's all I got to say.
Do you have healthcare and or insurance available through your current job?
Um, I can get it. Like I'm pretty sure I would have to. The only thing with that is like I'm about to get you know, I'm pretty sure I'm getting hired on with Stellar Construction, and they're gonna offer that, you know, right off the top. So, I mean, it might, since this is a late, like a temp company I'm working for, I know they offer it, but I would have to like go up there, and I don't know how long it would take to come into effect. Like,
So basically, if we came back to court after hopefully you get finalized at your current job, you would be able to get the information so we could see if that health insurance was affordable for you?
yes, well, I knew it was gonna be affordable. I've checked stuff, you know, just out of pocket too, and which she's aware that I've been trying to meet her in the middle with also, even down to letting her be over all the paperwork and stuff still. So she's not feeling like it's an issue. Like, I've made this offer to her even out of pocket. Like, as far as through the job, that's like 100% possibility if given the opportunity. I even prefer to do it that way, but
Okay.
we have to
understand-
communicate well on that though.
You understand that the state has to be a part of any agreements, and we have to also agree to it. And we're not going to agree to cover health insurance or cover no health insurance and just paying out of pocket. The child actually needs to be covered by a health insurance plan.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, that's what I mean. I was seeking like this outside health insurance policies just in case it was going to be hard to get it, you know, where I'm at right now, because I don't know what they all offer with that.
Okay. Well, here's the deal, Mr. Curtis. Under most circumstances, anything you get from an employer is going to be a lot cheaper than you could get out in the open market. Okay, so that's why it's so important to get that, because yeah, the open market sometimes, you know, starts out pretty good, but by the end you're usually paying twice as much. So
I mean, I'm willing to I'm open to the thought of like putting in action and checking it out. It's just like when I've requested information like the social security number, like I couldn't get that from her, or you know, the certain information that I need, like I'm not able to get right now.
So don't worry, sir. If we order child support, or you get it through your place of employment, we'll get that all set up, okay? But for right now, it sounds like we probably need to wait to make sure the company takes you on full time, and when they take you on full time, they'll give you the entire package of what you're going to be doing, what they'll offer you as far as what you're allowed to do. And we don't have to wait for open enrollment. The court order means we can get a health insurance to start day one. All right.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any other questions of this witness, Ms. Hubbard?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brem Hall, briefly, anything on redirect, sir?
Nothing at this time.
All right, Mr. Curtis, we'll be back in just a moment. Mr. Brem Hall, call your next witness, please.
I'll call Miss Jasmine Fullilove. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you hear me
Everyone
okay?
seems,
We
I don't
got
know if
you.
it's just my computer. Everyone seems to be lagging. Is it me or is it just?
It's you. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Mrs.
Okay.
Hubbard, you're okay? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I hear Ms. Fullilove just fine. Thank you. I heard Mr. Curtis just fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. All right, Miss Fullilove. Were you able to hear my questioning with Mr. Curtis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And regarding the his involvement and his possession and access, since February of this year until June, he had testified about having essentially every other weekend from Friday to Sunday. Would you agree with that?
Like, are you asking me, like, is that what happened?
Yes. Would you agree that that happened, or would you disagree?
Yes, sir. That happened. So the last time he actually seen her was June 11th, and he recently just got her back like this past weekend or the weekend before last. So after like our last court date, like all visitation was put to a halt due to like some disagreements and stuff. And once I felt comfortable with him getting her, that's when I let her go.
Did Did he say something that made you feel uncomfortable after June?
Yes, sir. He was very upset about the back child support and everything.
Did he say any kind of statement that you interpreted to be a threat or that placed you in fear potentially?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And so, all right. And so he's only had what, maybe one or two since June? Is that right?
Actually today is supposed to be his weekend with her. And then yeah, so because last
Okay.
weekend was my weekend, so yeah. This will be the second visitation for him.
Okay. Now regarding where y'all exchange, he had said you've been exchanging at each other's houses. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I've been taking her to him like this recent visitation drop off and pickup. I would bring her to him because they recently just got a car and they didn't have any transportation. And so like I told him like I didn't mind picking her up and bringing her and stuff, but like due to the visitation being at a stop, he wasn't getting her. And then like this last first visitation with him, I did pick her up and drop her off.
Okay. And how far you live in the city of Temple, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how far away from downtown Temple, City Hall, the police department, how far from those buildings are you?
I would say it's like a 5 minute drive, not even that. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, not even that.
Okay. Um, all right. And currently you have insurance set up for Demaria, is that right?
Yes, sir. She's getting a superior health.
Okay. Do well over the next couple of months, do you think uh every other weekend is workable between you and Mr. Curtis regarding possession and access?
Yes. I think the
Okay.
visitation should stay the same every other weekend. He gets her after she gets out of daycare slash school, and then I go get her, or he can bring her that Sunday morning or evening, depending on like if he doesn't have anything planned for her with his family on Sunday.
Is she gonna be enrolled in kindergarten this fall or first grade?
Yes, sir. She's actually gonna go to the Sampson Howard Elementary that they just built. And she's also gonna still go to a New Day Learning Academy childcare.
And she'll be in kindergarten or first grade?
Kindergarten.
Okay, okay. Um, all right. And how far away is the school from your house?
Um, it's a far of a walk, I know that. I would have to say, if anything, it's like a 5 minute drive, 5, 10 minute drive, depending on traffic, really. It's like right over there by Tractor Supply. I don't know if you guys are like familiar with Temple, but it's like right there by Tractor Supply.
Is she gonna be riding the bus or are you gonna be dropping her off at school?
Um, so she's gonna ride the bus in the morning with her older sibling, and then the daycare is gonna pick her up from the school. And then once I get off of work, I will go get her before 5 o'clock.
Okay. And okay. How far away is the daycare from where you live?
Like 2 minutes.
Okay, okay. And I guess at this point it's like just an after school type program, is that right?
Yes, sir. Because
Okay.
she'll be in school from 7:45 to like 3:30.
Okay.
Wow, let me go
Do you know
7:45 now, huh?
yeah, 7:40, that's early,
Oh,
7:45.
oh,
Yeah.
Um is do you know what the cost of daycare or that after school daycare will be?
Well, right now, they're gonna change everything up because I'm actually due to have my baby in 2 weeks. But I did just do my first payment with them of 194, and that's including all my kids. So if you divide that by 3, that's possibly her half of what they have me paying for her. But like in all, like I pay 194 for childcare. But since I'm gonna be out of work for 6 weeks or more, they might just cut it off. But that is the full amount of what I pay with just what I make from my job.
Is that per week or every other week or?
That's every month on the 1st.
Oh, just a month. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And you said you're gonna you said you're gonna have to take work off for 6 weeks?
Yes, sir, because I'm actually due to have my last child on August 22nd.
Okay. Is that paid leave or just leave?
Sadly, it's not paid leave. That's why like I'm trying to get everything in motion. So they might put the childcare to a halt or just like take it back to free childcare until I can actually get back into my job. I wasn't on my job long enough to actually get paid leave.
I see. All right. Do you have a smartphone device?
Yes, I do. I'm actually looking at it right now.
Okay, and it can download apps and do video calls and all that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Generally speaking, in the past, has there been some pretty big difficulties in communication between you and Mr. Curtis? Just as a matter of generality, like not about anything in particular, but have you and
Like
him?
from 2019, or like are you speaking from February to June of this year?
So both, but let's talk about the present right now. Like since this case has been going since February, or maybe even the tail end of last year, since last fall.
Okay. Well, yes, so my first court date with you guys was February 14th of this year. There has been difficulties as far as getting an understanding of how everything is going to go and like how everything needs to go as far as what's best for the child. And me and Mr. Curtis, there has been stuff that has been said, nothing physical, but there has been stuff that has been said.
Has he threatened you over since last fall?
The last threats that I got were in June.
Last month? Or 2 months ago?
Yes. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
June.
All right. Well, do you plan on moving at all in the next 6 months from where you currently are?
I would like to, but I don't have anything in motion right now. No, sir.
Okay. All right. I'll pass for right now.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Brem Hall. Ms. Hubbard.
Ms. Fullilove, you know what? I think since this is likely to be a temporary order, I'm not going to question you on retroactive support because our judge doesn't handle that until a final order. So I'll just ask you, is there anything else that you want to make sure the court knows today that you haven't talked about?
I would like the court to hear that the way that I've been handling everything, I judge it off, I guess you can say, on how I feel. I don't know like if that matters or not, but I just wanted you guys to get like a clarification of that. When I feel like it's a possible chance that if I give my child to him that, he might not return her, that's when I feel like, hey, like I'm gonna keep her
Okay.
until like I feel safe.
All right, here's the deal, ma'am. That's called criminal kidnapping. There's a court order now. You both have rights as parents, but once there's a court order dealing with who has the child and custody, visitation, and all that, then that controls. And the bottom line is that's criminal, and there's the civil penalties also. Well, the civil penalty is 6 months in jail. okay, and along with a fine. So the bottom line is, ma'am, both of you have to follow the court order. Otherwise, if you're in violation of the court order, and the child has a lawyer, the lawyer will bring the necessary motions for enforcement based on anything does not abide by what the court orders that for that child to be done for that child. In other words, visitation, child support are both enforceable, and not to return a child at the end of visitation is a criminal matter also, ma'am. So again, we tell people you can't rob banks, but people still do it. But I'm telling you, ma'am, if it's his turn, it's his turn, and at the end of his turn, he has to return the child to you. Otherwise, like I said, that could be problematic for whoever doesn't follow the court order. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. I do understand that, but I just wanted to like let it be known, like that's what I was doing.
Yes, ma'am.
In the prior order, Judge, there wasn't a specific.
Oh, we're getting ready to go. We're getting ready to go specific. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And
So
ma'am,
she had talked.
and sir, we don't like using every other weekend as the standard. It's usually the first, third, fifth weekends, because every other weekend kind of messes things up. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. If that's the way y'all been doing it, then I'm gonna probably look at doing that going forward. But at the final order, it's always that first, third, fifth weekend of the month, and Dad gets the first, third, and fifth Fridays of the month, because there's always at least 4 Fridays, but every 2 or 3 months there's a 5th Friday, so he gets that extra weekend. Okay, but we'll save that for final. But I just want to let y'all know that's what we're looking at.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Brem Hall, you may proceed.
That's all I had, Judge. I was just going to say that she had been in contact with me about her concerns and the threats that were made. And so.
All right, and ma'am and sir, just as a precaution, I know y'all been exchanging, and Mom's been doing it. Mr. Curtis, you now have reliable transportation, sir?
Yes.
All right. And Miss Fullilove, would you prefer for me to go ahead and because I'll normally go ahead and make my exchanges when we're having circumstances that are not less than ideal at the closest police department, because the Temple, Belton, Killeen all have high definition cameras at their place, and people have a tendency not to do things at police stations. Okay. So I normally make the exchange, and it sounds like both of y'all are close to the police station. And the bad thing about exchanges are people sometimes don't get there on time. But under the law, if you're there for an exchange, you have to be there. You have to wait at least 30 minutes before you can safely go, hey, they're not going to show, I'm out of here. So if the court was to make the exchange at the Temple Police Department, would that be okay with you, ma'am? Would you prefer that, or you prefer to do it the way y'all been doing it?
I mean, I would prefer to do it the way that we've been doing it, because I don't have any problems.
Okay. You just told me that that's the way you want to do it, man. For now, we'll see how it works over the next 6 to 8 weeks when we're doing this, and we'll come back and see how Mr. Curtis's new job prospects have worked out, and get an update on your circumstances with the new child, and whether or not that care is going to be done free or not, or however you want to do it. And let that baby know August 22nd is not a bad day for a birthday, because that's my dad's birthday. So yeah.
Okay.
So August 22nd will work. Of course, 25th will work. 24th will work also, because that's the oldest boy's birthday. So we're good. So
Okay.
all right. At this time, again, I'm looking at obviously these are only 2 witnesses in the building in the Zoom, so I don't think there's any other witnesses. But I'm going to give Mr. Curtis the opportunity to say a couple other things if he wants to, and then I'm going to go ahead and see about making this attempt and see about getting us a date to come back when they will work with everybody's schedule. I don't want to bring y'all back in the general docket again. I'm going to make y'all a special setting, and I'll do it again on a Friday or a Monday or 2, whatever works best for you guys. But this time, do you have any, Mr. Brem Hall, do you have any other questions of either party, sir?
Not at this time. If we're gonna come back, I think if it's on a Wednesday, maybe like the last Wednesday of October, the 30th, I have that available.
Okay.
But I'm
That's
also
fine.
available on right now. I'm available on most Fridays or Mondays. So whatever day is fine.
All right. All right. Ms. Hubbard, do you have any other questions of either witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Curtis, look like we're gonna go ahead and continue doing this as is. We're gonna go ahead and come back and check your job out at the end of the time frame to see if you got on full time, and then we'll start looking at making a final permanent order for visitation and access and child support. Is there anything else, sir, you want to tell the court at this point?
No, I got a full understanding.
All right, then let me look at some dates on the Zoom calendar, and I'll be right with you guys. Here we go. Let's bring Zoom back up. You do 10 o'clock on the 30th of October, sir. Same Zoom code as we have today.
I would have preferred late afternoon, so I wouldn't have to take off of work. But I mean,
Well,
yeah,
I'm
we could do 10 o'clock. I'm
okay.
fine with
Well,
that.
I knew this was gonna be a little problematic because of school, but yeah, I think we need to stay, make sure that worked out. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go over further temporary order. We're gonna go ahead and come back on the 30th at 10 a.m. Same Zoom code as we had today. And Mr. Curtis, if you can find any receipt showing what was actually paid out in cash for certain items that you can verify, sir, the court will look at giving you credit for those. But here's the deal, sir. Under Texas law, I'm supposed to look at support for the last 4 years. But I'm going to save all that to the final hearing. But it is something that the court is required to do. So at this time, Mr. Curtis, anything else, sir?
That'd be all.
Ms. Fullilove?
That's all, Your Honor.
All right, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and do the reset since we're not doing the sheriff's department. I don't have to do that, or the police department. I don't have to give the speech about geotagging with a phone when someone doesn't show up. And if there's any problems, if anything comes up in the interim that you think might need the judge to make a quick clarification of without a big hearing reset, both of you have the right to contact Mr. Brem Hall to see about getting him to set that up, especially if it's anything dealing with y'all's child. Okay, if you need something to be tweaked dealing with the child, let him know, and I can see about making a quick ruling or getting another quick setting up, another quick hearing set up. All right.
Okay, so just a couple of quick questions. Did you wanted to order app close, Judge, in this case?
I'm going to leave it off right now, folks. Y'all just normally texting each other and calling each other.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. At the end of this, I'm probably going to go ahead and y'all can both look it up, and I'm going to probably go ahead and start ordering AppClose, AppClose. It's a free parroting app. It's in both Google Play and iTunes, and it has FaceTime functions. It has texting function. It has exchanging bills functions. You know, here's the new medical bill. Here's the and a calendaring function. It's all built in. And the main reason the court likes that is if you ever try to get evidence in on somebody's text messages and their emails and all that other stuff, it's real hard. But all this is in one spot if you use AppClose. So but at the end of the when we come back, I'm probably going to go ahead and order AppClose so y'all can start looking at it. Okay.
What is it called?
I'll send out
AppClose.
an
APP.
email.
Okay, Mr. Brem will send you the information, but it's called AppClose. Just the word app and close, CLOSE. Okay.
Then regarding Mr. Curtis's periods of possession, it looks like he's on like a second and fourth schedule in terms
Okay.
of weekends.
All right. Well, that's why I'm gonna go ahead and let them continue with their own. I'm not gonna go ahead and order the first there. But when we do the final, folks, the standard visitation package is the first 35th weekends for the non-custodial party, and that's based on first 35th Fridays, because every other weekend people like to think, well, the weekend Saturday. No, in the Texas law it starts on Sunday. It starts on Friday. So that might have to be clarified. But the other part is y'all can agree to anything, okay? But fair agreement, you got to fall back on what the standard possession order is. But we'll go over all that at the final hearing with y'all also. All right.
Okay.
So
So
right
for
now,
the,
y'all continue to do what y'all are doing. No
okay,
problems.
for the next 2.5 months, second and fourth weekends, or anything else they agreed to.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they're gonna do every other weekend. I'm pretty sure, but before October, there's gonna be a fifth weekend in there. So yeah, so they'll just keep their schedule and doing it the way they want to. All right. Yeah, that'll
Okay.
work.
And then keep the support and insurance orders the same from the temp in
Right.
February.
And then we'll get an update when it goes, I don't want to change it now and then change it again in 2 months. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. Thank y'all both very much. And Ms. Fullilove, good luck with the new baby. And Mr. Curtis, good luck getting that job nailed down, sir. Okay.
Thank you,
Yes,
Your
sir.
Honor.
All right.
All right.
Is the October day a 10 to 12 setting, like a 2-hour?
Yeah, I'm going to do it to make it a 2-hour. Same Zoom code.
Your Honor, may I ask Mr. Curtis, sir, would it help you to have a work excuse for today's court date, since you are trying to get hired on permanently?
Yes, that would definitely help a whole lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll send you one through DocuSign, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, you could just email it to me
Oh,
because I've been having
It'll come-
trouble signing into that DocuSign.
It-
Actually,
you
you
want,
know what? You're right.
okay, you got it now?
Yes, sir.
All right, good enough. All right, then, folks. I'll see everybody in October, and hopefully, Mr. Curtis, you'll be able to work every day of the week because it won't be raining and it won't be 104 degrees outside. Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
We're off the record. I'm gonna go ahead and change the Zoom code over. Thank you. Everybody's free to go.
thank you, Your Honor.